Do you know the number one question the sharks ask the guests on Shark Tank before they'll invest? You ready? Here it is. What is the cost of acquisition of a new customer? In our case, a new patient. Do you know that answer? I hope so, because in the Shark Tank, most people don't know the answer. And when they don't know the answer, they don't get the money. Why would you want to know that answer? Well, it's really pretty simple. It is the only metric that you could use to determine if what you are doing to get new patients is cost effective. Now, most of you use the number of new patients as the main metric, and that is really pretty useless. Here's why. The overhead of the typical chiropractic practice is 55% to 65%, so let's say 60%. Do you know what your overhead percentage is? You should. And let's say your average revenue per patient that follows your recommendations of care is $1,500. Right off the bat, $900 of that goes to revenue for your overhead, and that leaves only $600 net for each patient. Now let's say you decide that a great strategy for you is to do dinner workshops. You send out an invite via email, maybe some postcards to your patients. You do some posting and boosting on Facebook, and 30 patients decide to come to your dinner workshop, and each brings a friend, a potential new patient. Let's say the average dinner costs $15 per plate per attendee. Of course, probably you want a couple of your staff to be there to schedule the new patients and help with the dinner. Of the 60 people that attend, 30 are already patients, and of the 30 potential new patients, 15 set up appointments and 10 actually become good patients and generate your $1,500 revenue each. If you use the number of new patients as the metric you track, it appears you had a very successful event. Those 10 patients will bring in $15,000, 10 times 1,500. And you can see why dinner workshops are so popular. Now let's look at the cost of acquisition metric. The 60 people that show up for the dinner workshop cost you $900, 60 times $15 each plate. Plus you have to add in your dinner if you eat and the dinner of your 2 staff people. So the cost of the dinner was $945. You have to pay your 2 staff people members to work with your dinner for 2 hours each. Let's say you pay them $10 an hour. So the cost of staff is another $40. You have to pay a staff person to create your emails, do your Facebook posts and boost those posts. Plus, you would decide to use a snail mail postcard campaign as part of the promotion. So the total promotion, including the staff time, is another $150. Now, those 15 patients you scheduled come to the office. Your staff has to process them, and the doctor now spends 20 to 30 minutes with each patient. That's almost 7 hours of doctor time he or she is not getting paid for. 5 of those patients decide not to follow care, but 10 do. So your total investment to bring in these 10 patients was $1,135. $945 for the dinner, $40 for your staff, and $150 for the promotion. Cost of patient acquisition, $113.50 per patient, and that doesn't even include the doctor's time. So if you look at the $15,000 you generate from that dinner workshop, 60% or $9,000 goes to overhead, $1,135 to the cost of the event, and the cost per patient acquisition is $113.50. As a result, each patient that came from the dinner workshop was worth only $486.50. So your cost of acquisition was about 25%, which is very high. Here's the real question. What if you could bring in the same 10 patients for a total of only $150 rather than $1,135? That's only $15 per patient acquisition instead of $113.50. That's less than 3% cost of acquisition compared to 25%. That'll put another $1,000 in your pocket. What if you can bring in the same 10 patients for only $50? That's only $5 per patient acquisition instead of $113.50, or less than 1% cost of acquisition. You see, knowing the cost of acquisition gives you a metric you could really sink your teeth into, where the number of new patients is a pretty useless metric. Now, in the course of the next few weeks, I'm going to really teach you proven ways that you could use to get your cost of patient acquisition down below 5%, and they're pretty simple to do. In fact, next time I'm going to give you a spreadsheet that you could use to figure out your cost of acquisition. I'm Dr. Allen. I look forward to making 2016 your most successful year yet. Have a great day, everybody.